2, 3. Wow, that was a really sorry excuse at our stab at the theme song for Game of Thrones. And on that note, welcome everyone to Geek Garage Podcast, episode 14. I'm very sorry. I'm going to start off by apologizing due to the fact that it's been like 2.5 months since our last episode. I am a horrible person, and I just, am really terrible at doing this stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I started school, and I've been hella busy. And I never say hella, which is also weird that I just said that.
It was warranted.
It's all right, yeah. But yeah, today's episode is going to be on season 7 of Game of Thrones, which, of course, just concluded a couple weeks ago. And I guess it would have made more sense to do this episode a couple weeks ago when it actually concluded, so it would be more relevant. But what else are you going to do until, like, November of 2019?
Nothing.
Yeah, you're just going to listen to this podcast.
Over and over and relive it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, with me today, I have 3 lovely co-hosts, none of which are my regular co-hosts, Andrew and Connor. I don't know where they are, actually. I think they're dead.
They did.
Yeah, they did. They did. First co-host is a familiar face, Catie. She helped me with the Parks and Rec versus The Office episode, which was a fantastic time. Hi, Catie.
Hi.
Hi. Why don't you speak into your microphone?
Hello.
Yeah, thank you. That's better. How are you?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm excited to do this.
Yeah.
We talk about Game of Thrones at work all the time, so...
It only makes sense to do it. And we're actually at work.
Yep.
For those of you who give a shit. I didn't want to take up everyone's valuable weekend time, so we decided to just haul my equipment into the office and do it here. So, second co-host is Jaime. Hello, Jaime.
Hi.
Hi.
What up?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she spells her name exactly like Jaime from Game of Thrones.
I'm definitely a Lannister.
Yeah. Are you?
Yep.
You better not be. They're the bad guys.
Love them. Actually hate them.
Well, there might be room for redemption there.
Love to hate them.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, Mark. Hi.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm Mark. I disagree with being the third co-host. But...
Hey, why don't you speak into your microphone like a real man?
Hello, this is Mark.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a shit ton of to discuss today. So the first thing that we're going to kind of go over is just all the big stuff that happened in Season 7 and just throw some of those topics out and talk about, what we thought about them and shit like that. So does anyone want to get started? Anyone have an inkling to be the first person to say some shit?
Let's talk about Jon and Dany.
Yeah.
Let's
do it.
I think that's the biggest reveal, I feel like.
Yeah, so...
Jon Snow's butt, I mean.
That fine candy
that
ass.
fine hairless ass.
I wish I could say the same.
Wish
I could say the same. Yeah, it's perfect in every way.
Tis true.
So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans...
Has it been a long time coming?
Well, I mean, there's been fan theories for a long time now, since last season.
Yeah,
and
that
then,
they're gonna hook up.
Yeah.
Or, meet.
Yeah, and then Bran becoming the Three-Eyed Raven and seeing Lyanna have Jon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was kind of our first confirmation. And now we know that, Jon is a Targaryen and that he's a legitimate Targaryen.
Right.
So that's exciting. And then they did it.
They did do it.
I actually think the biggest reveal is the fact that he's legitimate. So I think people have speculated for a long time that he's a descendant or one of the Targaryens, but him being the actual first in line is pretty big.
For sure. And the way that Gilly, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
Gilly just like dropped that bomb so casually.
Yeah, it was so nonchalant. Like I was just, sitting watching and that happened and I was like, wait, did she
What?
just kind of sort of but definitely confirm like the biggest theory that's floating out there right now?
Yeah,
And Sam
especially
took
she-
credit for it.
Right.
He did.
He's like, "Oh, by the way, I figured this out with no help to anyone else."
Sam deserves some credit.
Poor guy.
I mean, he went and found the book
Yeah,
in the big ass library.
he did.
Actually, didn't he steal that book?
He did.
He probably stole some shit. I'd steal some shit.
Yeah, he basically broke all the rules at the Citadel,
Yeah.
but in the best way possible.
So yeah, that happened, and they fucked. So oops, accidental incest.
That everyone was rooting for.
Yeah, like everyone's like, ooh, Jaime and Cersei do it. That's weird. And then they're like, yeah, aunt and nephew fucking.
If Cersei was hotter and like a more enjoyable character, I think people would be more okay with it.
Yeah,
Because I love Jaime now.
Yes.
yeah, he's on his way to redemption for.
No, actually, Jaime's one of my favorite characters.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You looked like, I don't know about that.
I was considering the difference between brother, sister, and aunt.
Oh.
Nephew, incest.
Is there really much difference?
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the incest, but the whole of like they were explaining how they were related as it was happening was
Mhm.
very bothersome.
Yeah, that seems to have bothered quite a few people. I mean, me, I was just like, whatever. I mean, we've seen a lot weirder shit in the show so far. So
Yeah,
this
sure.
is, while it's monumental, it's not the weirdest thing we've ever seen. So, yeah. Let's see. How about Lady Olenna revealing that it was her that poisoned Joffrey? That was kind of cool.
She's a savage.
Such a
She is
badass.
savage AF.
I love her.
Yeah.
I've loved her since the beginning. That made it even better.
I'm feeling the good Halloween costume coming on.
Ooh, yes.
That would be good.
You gotta wrap your head up like a beekeeper.
Absolutely.
Have you guys seen all the memes of like there's like a cat in a trash can poking its head out?
Oh yeah.
Tell Cersei it was me.
Right. Yeah.
That's gonna be my costume. I'm just gonna wear a trash can on my head.
Just write Lady Olenna on
And
top.
be a badass. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, but I love how she was just like, "This is gonna be a painless death, right?" And he's like, "Of course it is." And then he's like,
BT
"Truth
dubs.
bomb.
Yeah,
I killed
dropped
your
my-
kid."
Right. Well, yeah. That was kind of a cool sort of kind of reveal. So
Yeah, I think they definitely needed a good send-off for her. So, like, she couldn't just die.
right, yeah, it wouldn't really quite fit right if like he just comes in there and like stabs her in the neck.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
Jaime wouldn't do that anyway. I feel like he knows it was necessary to take over Highgarden, but I feel like he's been reluctant in a lot of his actions lately,
Yeah.
which is another big thing is that he's left.
Hmm.
That's been
Yeah, that's also a big thing. He has left King's Landing, and didn't necessarily show where he was going. I guess. I mean, maybe Mark has a really good idea, but I mean, I was just speculating. North,
that was my thing is like has
because it's the opposite of south.
Yes.
well, two things. So I loved the scene when he left. First of all, you thought he was gonna die, and then whenever he's on the horse and he's by himself and he's leaving and the snow is falling,
Mhm.
that was one of my favorite scenes.
Was that? I was trying to figure out if that was snow.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, like when it came down, I thought it was ash. Like it
It
looked.
kind of looked like it.
Yeah.
No, I think it was supposed to be snow.
Yeah.
Plus, it had kind of a. At the end of last season, he was coming into King's Landing when it was on fire from the explosion, and he was
Ah.
leaving with it snowing.
Okay.
I think
That's
it
a
was
good
nice.
connection.
Yeah.
Well, so I was wondering, like, if it was he had just left and like winter has come to like to Westeros, but then, or if it was showing him further north to show that he's actually going north.
I took it as what you first said, that it was just supposed to be a sign that winter was everywhere, and that the danger was real.
Yeah, and he made the right decision.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think Bronn's going with him?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
that's a good question. I mean, I feel like his time is not up from the show. Like, he's still going to be in it. But yeah, it's a good question.
He's also trying to get that money.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
he's staying there because he knows maybe he's staying in Westeros.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably one of the least talked about, like, speculations for the last season is what Bronn is going to be up to. Like, I haven't read any speculation on that. So.
He's kind of a shifty character.
Yeah, he is, like, one second you're, kind of rooting for him, and then the other you're like, yeah, what a shitbag.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like with Jaime and Tyrion being his two best friends, essentially, that he has to go and meet up with them.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else that really makes sense for him.
Yeah, truth. You guys want to talk about how, well, it's kind of been building up to the war between, the Lannister army and everyone else, and then versus Dany and her army. And we've kind of been questioning how that's going to go because while the Lannisters, they do have, quite a few people in their army, Daenerys has fucking dragons. So it's kind of been up in the air exactly how that's going to go. Like, how are they going to level the playing field if there's going to be a level playing field? So I feel like we kind of got a glimpse of maybe how they're leveling that playing field by having the dragon be shot by, or, the fucking Ice King.
But Bronn could have easily done it too if he had gotten a really good shot.
Yeah.
And I know we were just talking about how 1 minute you're rooting for him and the next minute you're not. That
Right.
whole battle between them was just a weird conflict of emotions, like the whole time. Because 1 second you're like, you don't want Jaime to die, but he's coming after Daenerys and the dragon. And then like Bronn, it's like you don't want him to die, but he's about to shoot the dragon. Like, it was just really intense.
Yeah, that's probably one of the more conflicting battle scenes of the series so far. Is thinking back to the previous seasons and previous battle scenes, I feel like they've been, I don't know what the right word is, like one-sided, I guess. I mean, which side you want to root for, but I mean, on this side, there's Jaime, which is kind of a amoral character, I guess, where, he's kind of like Tyrion in a sense where he's a Lannister, but he actually has some sense and he's not nuts. And then you have Daenerys, which, of course, everyone roots for her. So
I think Tyrion's reaction during that battle too was interesting because you could see that he felt bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like that was the Lannisters' army, and that was his life before that point. And he also cares about his brother and his, I guess, just overall success, kind of, you know. So
yeah, that's another thing is like how many seasons has he been with Daenerys so far? Was this the second season or the third season that he's been with her?
I thought it was only like the second.
I think it's just the second. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, the second sounds right, but it's a good portion of time that he's been with her so far. At least we've kind of come to that conclusion. So it's kind of weird how he's been with her, and he very much wants her to be on the Iron Throne, but now he's kind of seen what it's going to take in order for her to be able to do that, and he's like, oh shit, I guess that does mean kind of killing a lot of the people that I used to call quote unquote friends.
yeah. But now that Jaime is, gonna be with him potentially, I mean, it's just Cersei and her potentially fake baby.
Right.
And it makes you like, you can officially hate the Lannisters because even though Jaime and Tyrion are Lannisters, you don't think of them in that way when they're with Dany.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, this season's Jaime is very different from season 1.
Oh,
And
yeah.
in season 1, I don't think anyone would have cared if Jaime had died.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of fun to look back at like the pictures of all the characters, at least the ones that are still alive, from season 1 to now. Like I thought Jaime looked like a real weirdo in season 1.
Like somebody that bangs his sister.
Exactly.
Hello.
Hello.
Now phoning in from the north.
What if that was Jamie? Like, I hear you talking shit. Yeah, that's weird. I don't really get that. How you can? I mean, you guys don't use Macs, but like, you can sync up your phone to your Mac, and so when you get a call, you can answer it on your Mac. But like,
During a podcast.
But I mean, like, how are you gonna? What's the point of answering? I'm getting off track. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking
You
sense.
have to hold it up to your face like a flip phone. Hello.
Oh! Thank you for calling Movie Phone.
Oh my gosh.
All right, y'all want to talk about the Stark reunion?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Long
finally,
time coming.
yeah,
So exciting. They've all been through so much.
I know.
And they're all back in Winterfell, and it's great.
Yeah, I was actually really afraid that Arya was going to choose to go to King's Landing. And I was really afraid she was going to die this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's. There's been several times where she's kind of walked that thin line of like, holy shit! Like, I can actually imagine her dying at
Yeah.
like soon because she's. I don't know if reckless is the right word.
Impulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
she's also a fucking badass, and she's like a trained assassin now, you know?
Yeah.
And can we talk about the cold open?
Oh, yeah.
Like, wasn't that the first cold open ever in Game of Thrones?
No, there's been one or two before.
Okay, I couldn't remember any.
But it's definitely less than 5.
Okay, well, they all pale in comparison, and maybe that's why I can't remember them.
No, yeah, I want to say there's been at least one other cold open.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to recall that as well. But yeah, that was an amazing open to this season.
I just got chills thinking about it.
Yeah. I was also wondering, like, when she dons the face of someone she's killed, does she also inherit like their height too?
She has to.
I mean,
It's some kind of crazy magic. It's not just their face.
right? Because
you know?
what I was thinking of was the fucking Mission Impossible shit, where they would make a fake mask out of whoever they're trying to impersonate, and then they would just have to, you know, put on a fat suit or something if that person that they're impersonating happened to be fat.
I feel like
Anyways,
mask is just like, you can carry the mask around, but you take over their full body form.
Yeah.
That's
Because I just
the
feel
vibe
like
I get.
there's fucking dragons and shit. Like, it's just some kind of crazy magic.
Yeah.
I think.
I wanted some more like laissez-faire attitude when Sansa found her bag full of faces. Be like, so, what you got going on here? She was like, oh yeah, for a while I kind of did like this crazy shit where these people that don't have any names, you know, they like train me in like bow hunting skills and bow staff skills and nunchuck skills.
I'm wondering, so on the note of the Stark reunion, so like the whole, which leads us to Littlefinger dying,
Mhm.
the whole interaction between Sansa and Arya, how much of it was genuine and how much of it was staged? Like, did they have those genuine interactions in the beginning when you were like, oh shit, Arya's gonna kill Sansa? But then, like, at what point did they realize?
Yeah, that
You
wasn't
know?
really clear.
Yeah. Those lines are very muddy, but I do feel like there was genuine concern on Sansa's part that she might actually die.
Oh,
I don't think like the whole thing was a ruse to fool Littlefinger.
And did anyone care if Sansa was gonna die?
No.
I would
Not
have.
really.
You would have?
Yeah.
I didn't care, and then I felt
I-
guilty. And I was like, oh, look at you guys.
She does have balls.
As far as characterization goes, I think she has had the biggest payoff, or one of the biggest payoffs, because a lot of the characters that we've liked for a really long time. And Sansa, no matter what she went through, like the whole thing with Joffrey and the whole thing with Ramsay, all that terrible shit she went through, she still appeared to be kind of a, I hate to say weak character, because, all that bad shit did happen to her, but she wasn't...
She didn't have,
naive.
yeah, and she didn't have her eye on anything.
She was never on the offense. She was always playing pretty defensively.
Right.
Which she had, given her circumstances, I guess she had to, but, what was her end goal? It was, honestly just to survive the shit she was going through, so I think it made her less intriguing of a character.
Yeah. But,
yes.
In my opinion, the long-term payoff for her characterization has been substantial. I really like her as a character now. I liked her. It's always kind of been wavering. When she wove those lies for that council, where Littlefinger had to meet. It was that group of people right after he pushed her aunt out the moon door.
Oh yeah.
And she lied to them, saying that she was, abusing, her son or whatever. I forget exactly what she said, but she just, straight up lied to keep Littlefinger alive.
I think that's probably a huge contributor to why maybe viewers, including myself, haven't liked Sansa, because she's just teamed up with Littlefinger for so long. Because he's a little bitch.
I think that's what
was.
partially bothered me a little bit about the Sansa Arya interactions this season. Because if they're genuine, then Sansa should really be past the point of trusting Littlefinger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he did now.
Well, she admitted that, she's a slow learner, and I was like, me too, girl. Me too. I am slow as fuck. That would be me. Seriously, like sitting on the throne, while someone's gone. I'm like, well, I guess I have to take up the duties now. And
I'm not a smart man.
seriously, I do know what love is. John comes back. He's like, all right, what'd I miss? Well, you fucked your aunt and Littlefinger's dead, so.
And Bran's going to be the one to tell him.
Right.
Awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward. Have your little brother tell you, you done fucked up.
But he's going to say it was zero emotion.
Yeah.
Right.
You fucked your aunt.
Your butt looked really nice when you fucking your aunt.
Because I saw it.
John,
I've seen everything.
before we get into the ugly specifics of what I have to tell you, I just have to say, you have a delicious ass. It is, that thing is majestic. So we'll kind of do a mini segue into Littlefinger and his death, and how pretty much everyone on this earth that watches the show was excited for it.
Mm-hmm. I have one friend who has always from the beginning loved Littlefinger.
Huh.
Are you still friends?
Yeah, we're still friends, but we don't talk about it. I haven't talked to him about any of this yet. So
was she really upset when he died?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him, so.
Oh.
Not to pull this card, but did he read the books?
Probably not.
Huh. Okay. It's from the books. I actually really like Littlefinger in the books.
Is he a more likable character, or kind of he does things here and there that make you like him?
No, he's actually more devious, which, in the show, they made it really obvious that he was scheming and everything. In the books, nobody actually knows that he's playing everybody.
Oh.
He's just staying in the shadows.
Interesting.
Well, I do feel like him and Varys are they've been two of the most important characters that don't get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this season, I think I remembered having this conversation with you guys that I found it interesting that Littlefinger was in Winterfell with Jon, and then Varys was with Daenerys. and that they had kind of like chosen sides, and they're the sides to be on. You know, like that after all the scheming and all of like everywhere they had been and everyone they had sided with and all the lies that they told, they ended up there.
Yeah.
You know, I think
good
that
point.
was important.
Yeah, like the two smartest characters, and they gravitated towards the people most likely to win.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just scary how much they know and how much there's still left to be shown that they do know.
Yeah, well, not Littlefinger anymore, but
Right, yeah.
But he
Varys.
probably had all kinds of shit set in motion. Who knows? Like, he's going to be wreaking havoc probably from the grave. I mean, honestly. He's a
I guess
horrible
it's
guy.
possible. Yeah. So another little cool thing that they snuck in there was Jorah is back. Sam successfully cured him of his what's it called?
Grayscale.
Grayscale.
Grayscale. That's what I thought. So that was really cool. Also really painful to watch.
I was
Yeah,
eating
Shane-
at that time.
He had a lot of gross scenes this season.
Yeah, like the
Well-
poop montage in the first episode.
Well, the worst part of the grayscale removal effort scene was like, they were like, he was pulling it off, but then it just like cut to a scene where they were like digging into a hot pie. Like,
They did that a couple times this season.
yeah, it was, not great. But I thought the scene was really powerful at the end when like Sam reaches out to shake his hand because he's just like proud of what he's done, and he's like, let's like, they're kind of sealing the deal. Like, I trust that I've cured you.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like Sam is one of the unsung heroes of this season. Him and, of course, Gilly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, one, they discovered Jon's true heritage. And two, he's kind of denouncing the whole, like, I want to be a
Maester.
a maester. And he wants to actually do things to help win the war instead of just write about it.
Yeah.
Just sit back and watch it happen.
What does he say? He says something really profound about
Yeah,
that.
it's
He's like, I don't want to sit back and read about the greater
The deeds of greater men. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
yeah. I went back and watched that episode specifically for that part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was like, well, I mean, you can't, you know, I don't know where I was going with that.
I was just
I just
nodding,
had, like,
yeah.
I just had verbal
Yeah.
diarrhea. All right. Well, what else do we want to talk about for the big stuff? I mean, the wall is gone, and hopefully, Beric and Tormund are not dead.
Yeah.
There's no way they're dead.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's going to open next season, probably with them running to Winterfell, trying to warn everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe just like a still like 20-second shot of the ground, like and like ice rubble, and just all of a sudden like like a hand reaches out, and kind of like one of those like stereotypical scenes that you see where
And then
Come.
everybody cheers.
yeah,
A good feel good to lead into something really bad happening.
right,
Probably. Or he's just going to be a fucking White Walker because that's how Game of Thrones is.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's just going to be trudging along. Sorry, that
That
was
would be
dark.
that
Sorry.
was really dark.
Sorry.
Well, I think we touched on most of the big stuff. Did you guys have a favorite episode from this season, or favorite moment? Katie?
I think one of my favorite moments or favorite episode is when Jon and Jorah and the Hound and Tormund and the whole crew are gonna go
Mhm.
past the wall, because I just feel like
Come
they...
to the land of the ice and snow with the midnight sun and hot
Ah!
spring bow. Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's pretty
scene,
good.
Well, them walking in was pretty epic, but just like, it was just really powerful that all of these characters who haven't either interacted in a long time or have never interacted with each
Mhm.
other were going on this like insane suicide mission for like what they believe in
Yeah.
and to like save mankind basically. And I mean, they were all there for different reasons,
Right.
but then they all banded together, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That was definitely my favorite ending to any of the episodes. but the episode that you just talked about, where they actually, the episode right after that, where they go and, they get stranded on that island.
That was stressful.
Oh God. That was definitely my favorite episode of the season. Jamie, do you have a favorite one?
I really liked the episode where literally everybody was represented in King's Landing for the meeting.
The very last episode.
Yeah. Just how everybody interacted, and literally nobody, not even like, you just got the sense the characters didn't know what was going to happen, which made us very worrisome of what was going to happen. But also there was comedic relief with, like Bronn and Tyrion there.
Yeah. And the moment between the Hound and Brienne,
yes,
where they looked like proud parents.
Yeah.
where the Hound discovered that Arya was still alive and she was back in Winterfell, and
And then like
awesome.
after the episode, it was really neat to hear like the directors talk about how long it took to shoot all of that.
Oh yeah.
Just because there's so many different scenes and so many characters there.
Yeah. Yeah, they've stepped up their game, it seems like, for the behind the episode stuff. Like it used to, I'd always watch it, but they never would really like deep dive. Like it'd always be like really short. But this season, I guess since so much is going on, they kind of did a deep dive. Like I think they'd always be like between 4 and 5 minutes long, the behind the episode. So I really like that about this season.
It's almost needed sometimes.
Yeah,
to be able to catch it all.
because there's a lot of things, like you said, that you don't catch, and things that you have questions about, and it kind of like when they bring it up after the episode, it's kind of like, oh, hey, yeah, that does make sense. But if they don't address what you might have had a question about, it kind of sort of means like it's left open to interpretation, or maybe they're going to answer that question down the road.
Sometimes when they don't answer questions, it's sort of telling.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Like the way that they say things, or they don't want to say something, then if it was definitive, they could just say it.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like if the internet wasn't a thing, or if it wasn't what it is right now, the whole Jon being a Targaryen reveal would have been like fucking off the charts.
Yeah.
That's like my mom. She doesn't read any like fan theories. She doesn't want me to tell her anything. So it was, I had been talking about it, and we watched the whole season together this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like way more excited about it. And I was just like, duh.
Yeah, like, like you said, most people, they read up on the theory, especially the people that read the books.
Yeah.
They've had a pretty big clue as to what the hell is going on. Mark, did you have a favorite episode?
My favorite moment overall was the opening scene with Arya killing all the Freys.
Yeah.
Because she's my favorite character, so that was a great moment. I think my favorite episode was probably the Luke train battle.
Oh yeah, where all the dragon, the dragon comes and just fucking torches everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great actually seeing what a dragon can really do.
Yeah, that was. It seems like it was our first glimpse at what the dragons can do, fully grown.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Jones does a really good impersonation.
Yeah.
That's awesome. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, just Google what is it like.
Seth Meyers,
yeah,
Leslie
Seth
Jones,
Meyers and
Game of
Leslie
Thrones.
Jones. They sit down and watch a couple episodes.
It's like there's like 2 videos.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Like when she imitates the dragon, she's like, ah! And like you can hear the audience laugh track behind it, and they're just like cracking up laughing too.
It's good.
Yeah. Okay, well we can move on to the other 2 things we have are some fan theories and then season 8 predictions. I guess we can dip into fan theories real quick. One of them that I have, or Catie, do you have any that you want to talk about?
I don't know that I haven't really read up. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of my fan theories haven't been, like, I've been more interested in ones that were either, like, confirmed or kind of denied this season.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't really have any that were super prevalent
Yeah.
for this season.
I mean, I laughed out loud at the one saying that Varys is a merman.
I had never heard that.
I just think that'd be fucking hilarious when they're like on a ship and they're like going somewhere to like King's Landing or some
His
fucking
bald head
place.
just pops out.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Where's Varys? Did we leave him behind?" Like Home Alone, and all of a sudden like he just pops out of the water and he's like, "Hey guys."
It would be pretty great if they never actually referenced or explained it at all, that he was just always swimming around the boat.
Well, maybe that would explain how he got to Dorne so fast that one time.
Yeah. If you want to read more on that, I mean, it is pretty ridiculous, but parts of the argument are kind of convincing, but I don't know if I buy it. Let's see. One of the fan theories is, talking about Clegane Bowl, the what's the mountain's real name? Is it
Gregor.
Yeah, Gregor and I can't.
Mountain.
Yeah, I
The
can't.
Mountain and the Hound, but I can't think of the
Yeah.
Hound's name either
I'm
right
so
now.
terrible.
Mark?
Oh, I actually just blanked on that.
Good job, Mark.
The two biggest guys.
Sander.
Yeah,
It's Sander.
Sandals, Sandals, Jamaica.
So what? So they're gonna fight?
I think so. I mean, what in the last episode, he walks up to his brother and he's like, "So we meet again. This is kind of awkward. And you're fucking ugly."
Are we gonna see his face? I mean,
I feel like it.
Ugh,
Gotta
it looks
see it.
so scary under
Yeah.
there.
See, when I was reading about this fan theory, it got refreshed in my memory that Oberyn was the one that poisoned him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
That was
I can't remember when that happened.
during their fight.
Like, was it during the fight?
Yeah, because he like had that spear, right?
Yeah.
And it had poison on it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't remember either, and my boyfriend had to explain it to me.
I think what helped me wipe that from my memory was like right after that episode aired, like the next day, someone edited in a double-edged lightsaber instead of his spear. And I was like, "Oh, that'd be super awesome if he had a lightsaber instead. He totally would have won."
Yeah, his head wouldn't have been crushed.
Right.
ugh.
Poor
was
Oberyn.
horrible.
Yeah. But the reaction on his wife's face was like priceless. Like,
Yeah.
That was really confusing because I was also watching Narcos at that time, and he was like one of the main characters.
really?
Oh yeah. Oh my
Huh.
god, I didn't even put that together.
Yeah.
He's like the other agent guy,
Mhm.
right?
I've heard that's a good show.
Oh.
I haven't gotten a chance to watch it.
It's good.
Right on. Well, let's see. Mark, do you buy into any of the fan theories that are floating out there, or do you think they're all kind of hokey?
I think Clegane Bowl is definitely going to happen. I don't think, because I mean, he basically threatened him during the meeting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty inevitable.
I think as Katie's saying, most of the big fan theories have either been confirmed or been disproven. I'm trying to think of.
I know.
who's not left.
The
Yeah.
dragon that got taken over, is it gonna be fighting with the dragons, like against them? Like,
Yeah.
How's that gonna
I
play
think we're
out?
definitely gonna have to see a dragon on dragon fight.
Definitely.
I feel that's gonna happen. There's a lot of theories floating around on who's gonna kill Cersei. I mean, there's theories, and then there's just people like speculating.
I've always thought it was going to be Jaime. Once their relationship got kind of, I guess, toxic and more complicated, like more complicated than being brother and sister.
Right.
I have always thought that. And then there's the whole prophecy that we saw a couple seasons ago, the witch telling little Cersei.
Yeah.
And part of that was that she would die at the hands of her little brother.
Mhm.
And so if she was born first, even though her and Jaime are twins, then he can technically be her little brother.
Yeah.
Or it could be Tyrion. So
Mhm.
I think to do it justice, it has to be one of them.
Yeah. It would make sense, I feel like, for Jaime to do it. But I think that no matter what happens to her, he's always going to have feelings for her, and killing her is going to be like the last thing on his mind. So I feel like what she's going to do to warrant him killing her has to be like spectacular.
Like killing Tyrion.
Yeah, that was my first thought, is that somehow she's going to kill Tyrion, or maybe have the Mountain kill him or something like that.
I
don't know.
Cry.
Oh God, I would cry. I don't know if you guys remember the end of last season when Cersei's on the throne and you see Jaime's reaction, and it's just like sheer like concern and just almost terror, you know. And at that point, from that point on, I was like,
that's
Jaime's
when like
gonna kill
the
her.
Mad Queen theory started popping up. Like she's basically going to take up the mantle of the Mad Queen.
Yeah.
Especially considering Jaime killed King Aerys because he was threatening to blow up the city with wildfire, and then she actually did it.
And she still has some.
Yeah.
Her outfits have been on point.
Yeah.
Like, those have been fucking awesome, and they've been all black and, like, crazy, intricate designs.
Mm.
It's kind of Hunger Games esque.
Definitely. Yeah. It makes up for her horrible hair, sort of.
It is really terrible. What I find kind of disturbing is that if you find like interviews with Lena Headey, is that how you say her name?
I think, I don't know.
Probably.
If you find interviews with her, like being on Conan or whatever, she's really attractive. I mean, she's like, I think she's maybe in her 40s. Not like that fucking matters, but I mean, she's pretty attractive. Like, I mean, she naturally has dark brown hair.
Mm-hmm. When she's smiling and like,
right, when she's not like fucking evil.
Yeah, not being evil.
Yeah, I don't think she's not even like hot, crazy attractive in the show. You know how some crazy bitches
you
can
just
be.
Fucking hate her.
Yeah, she's just not great around.
No.
Okay, well, let's. I guess we can segue into season 8 predictions. Does anyone have any predictions that they'd like to spout out?
Well, Jaime and I both think that Cersei's not really pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think she is.
Which maybe that's what throws Jaime over the edge. Even more.
True.
Is that, you know, he thought he was going to have another kid.
Yeah.
But now that's really the only thing that would probably tie him to her emotionally.
Because we know that she is capable of anything at
Yeah.
this point, and this pregnancy has manipulated so many people so far, and that same, going back to that prophecy, like, she was only supposed to have 3 children.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but that would kind of throw that prophecy out the window if she had another kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I just don't think she's pregnant.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side of that, if she is, what that could mean for the future of the Lannister household, if there's going to be a future, if King's Landing doesn't get burnt to a crisp.
I mean, if she's pregnant, there's also the theory that this kind of goes back to our theories, but that it's Euron's. It wouldn't put it past that partnership to carry into season 8.
Yeah.
Jaime, you are not the father.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical on that one. As far as Euron being the dad, I don't think that they had a lot of time together.
Well, they had time for her to tell him what was up. Like, hey, I need you to leave, acting like you're gonna abandon ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, like, goes off with his fleet, and she planned all that shit. And he was going to, like, back. I mean, what was the whole thing? Isn't he, like, he's still...
He was going to abandon everybody and be on his island.
Yeah, but there was some connection, though. Like, they have a plan.
Yeah, he's going to go to Essos to pick up a mercenary company called the Golden Company.
Yeah.
That is what they're going to use to rebalance the balance of power in Westeros.
So they had to have had some time off camera
it doesn't take
to be
too much time.
to be discussing all of that.
Right.
So
yeah, that's true.
It would be a pretty lousy theory, but it's one.
Fuck it.
that was pretty cool when he like came down. I mean, I fucking hate him, but
yeah,
whenever he he goes and attacks. Who am I thinking of?
Yara.
And then
The sand snakes.
yeah. And he comes down on that big like thing on that boat. It's just like, rah! That was pretty cool.
So you know how like the best part of this season has been reading all of the Twitter reactions to everything from all the episodes? Well, some of my favorites were Euron looks like, and it was just a list of like 30 different things that people said that he looked like, and one of them was like the evil twin of Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
I heard you guys joking one day, and you were saying something like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't have a costume for you, but here's a box of Hot Topics."
Yeah, seriously, that's what it seems like would have happened.
Yeah, the eyeliner and the studs and stuff. He was,
Yeah, that costume when he shows up in, I guess it was the first episode. I was like, "What are you wearing? Like that doesn't look like from." Like it came from the Game of Thrones
walked
costume.
Off set of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess he's a pirate though, kinda.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I mean, it did stand out quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a loser, whatever.
Yeah, up until the scene that you were talking about where he attacks the ship, I did not like the character at all. Thought it was a pretty big letdown. But
another big speculation of what's going to happen. We've kind of already touched on it, but like, are Jon and Daenerys going to find out that they're related, and what's going to happen if they do find out?
I mean, for Jon, it'll probably be weird, but I mean, Dany's been raised to be a Targaryen, and that's perfectly normal for her. So it'll be interesting to see if it freaks Jon out, but then Dany gets more turned on.
Is there a history of incest in the Targaryen house?
Oh yeah, it was almost mandatory. Like they preferred to marry brother to sister.
Well, that's what created the Mad King, right?
Yeah,
was incest. I mean, that's like, and I mean, that's even in history now, too,
Yeah.
that's happened before, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dany and her brother Viserys were possibly going to get married originally.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
They
really
touched a lot on that in the book. Like
Yeah, definitely.
Like in the of course I told you guys yesterday I listened to the audiobook for the first one. I haven't read any of the other ones. But I mean the book, the first book and the first season are almost like perfectly aligned. Like there's not a whole lot that was left out. But I feel like that was definitely one of the few things that was left out was how much torture that what's his name, Mark? Viserys?
I say Viserys, but I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, it's weird because there's a lot of V names.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he tortures her a lot, like physically and mentally, like, and I think there might be some random rape scenes also.
Past
so-
Martin.
Yeah, so when he gets the Golden Crown in the first book, like in the book, it's like really awesome because
It was awesome anyway.
yeah.
It was
Okay.
my favorite death, I think.
Of all of them?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the creepiest and most awesome
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I will say in the books, like he's definitely a very sleazy character, but you get a little sympathetic towards him, even though you still hate him. It becomes clear that like his whole life, he's just been drifting around, being told that he should have been king, but then he lives basically in poverty at the will of everyone else.
Yeah, that's true. He like all he cares about is like money and stuff. Emphasis on the stuff.
Yeah.
No, more emphasis on the money.
Yeah, he sucks. We've talked about him for too long.
Is that like your suggestion that we should talk about something else now?
No, I just hate him. He's so terrible.
What do y'all think that Sam is going to play a pretty big role in the last season, or at least
they're just gonna write him out.
What happened to Sam? He got in a boat with Gendry and they both rowed away.
I think so. I mean, he's already done so much, and I mean, I don't know how he stole all that stuff from the Citadel, so I mean, he could just be like continually finding out more things that are going to help them.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he's going to be the brains behind figuring out how to beat the White Walkers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's no way that they can beat them in numbers. Plus, they're like really hard to beat. Aside from the numbers, so I feel like he's going to be instrumental in coming up with the way that they're going to defeat them.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but politically, he plays an important role potentially because
Right.
he's the head of his house now.
Oh, yeah.
His dad
Yeah.
and his brother got,
And I don't
burned
think he
alive.
knows that yet.
No.
he doesn't.
No.
Because I think
Do
the
we think-
Macers, they knew it and they
Yeah, but they
opted
said they
out of
didn't tell
telling
him.
him.
Do we think that's going to be awkward once he learns that Danny, because he didn't have a great relationship with his family, but it's still probably upsetting to know that your family was just burned alive by your new ally.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how he feels about it, because they treated him like shit his whole life, from what I gathered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that he's not going to have a hard time getting over it. Like, I mean, he's a very kind-hearted individual, so I feel like, it'll strike a certain chord within him, but for the most part, it'll be like, well, they were dicks, so
Yeah. Well, plus he loves John, and they're best buddies, and he's gonna
Mhm.
know that like John has sided with Daenerys and kind of know the whole. I mean, he knows the whole story actually. So I feel like he's gonna kind of, be on John's side no matter what too.
yeah,
And that was something that kind of needed to happen.
cool. What else? Anything else? Any other predictions?
Not necessarily a prediction, but I am looking forward to the Bran Jaime reunion. It is interesting that
Yeah,
Bran's dream when he was growing up was to be a knight, and he basically wanted to be exactly what Jaime was.
mm-hmm.
Then Jaime crippled him, which ruined that dream. Now the crippled Jaime's coming up north to meet up with them.
Yeah,
It's twisted.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's gonna be kind of weird. All these people in one location that a lot of them once hated each other, and now they've kind of been forced to be on one side.
I think that's been my favorite part of this past season, more than any other season, is just characters that have never interacted before and have never had relationships, never had to interact, or at least interacted in person, are getting together, either
Right.
as allies or coming together as enemies to discuss things or to battle or whatever. So that's been exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I am really looking forward to Jon and Arya meeting up again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which nothing better happened to either one of them before
Oh
that
God.
happens.
Also, is Arya's direwolf going to come back and save the day at some point?
We need it.
That could happen.
That would be awesome.
Although, and did we see Ghost at all this season?
I don't think so.
No. Where's he at?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess he got his own place, kind of just trying to.
He's
Try
trying
out
to
things on
distance
his own.
himself.
He might be just on the DL in Winterfell. He's working on his screenplay, Werewolves in London.
Albino werewolves in London.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a pretty good place to wrap it up. I feel like we've touched on a lot of important stuff that happened throughout the season, and predicting what might happen next season. And I'm really hoping that date that I found of November of next year is true. Because if we have to wait like a full 2 years, I might just kill someone.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to rewatch everything.
I feel like HBO definitely wants to stretch it out as far as they can. As soon as Game of Thrones ends, their subscriber rates are going to plummet.
Yeah.
They're going to have to start releasing like a shit ton of content, like Netflix style. Like how they have like a new show coming out like every Friday. They're
I'd be
going to
down with that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to sacrifice the time to wait for Game of Thrones, but I'm all about HBO series.
Yeah. Speaking of HBO series, we should have another episode where we talk about The Night of.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Or just like other HBO series,
I
or
can talk about The Sopranos all day long.
I feel like maybe we could do an episode on like shows that you should be watching.
Mm-hmm. The
And
Deuce. Did
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
watch
Yeah,
the first
first
episode? It was good.
Yeah, that's really good.
yeah,
Did y'all watch Westworld?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we discussed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we talk about that every week, Mark.
Yeah. I do not remember anything anyone said.
You just try and keep track in the office of who watches what.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much again for tuning in. You can, like always, find us on the internet at geekgaragepodcast.com. There you can find links for all our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I was like, what else are we on?
David works in digital marketing, guys.
Yeah, go ahead and throw me under the bus. That's cool.
We're in our conference room. I had to.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, like I said, thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully it will not be 2.5 months before we put out the next episode. So, Catie, Jaime, Mark, thank you so much for joining me, so I don't have to talk to myself about Game of Thrones.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.